Welcome back for round 2. We are slightly worried about the possibility of the Boros deck because it does seem to be a very powerful deck. Our opponent is mulliganed here. I think we may have to do the same because we don't have any of our early game and we don't have black to be able to cast Psychic Strike, so we have no action at all, and Hands of Binding isn't good without a creature to put it on, so we will mulligan this. Ugh, that's not really very good, is it? Depending on what our opponent does, we may have to mulligan this as well. If our opponent goes down to 5, we may join him on 5. We may join him on 5 anyway. We may go down to 5 anyway, because I don't think we can keep a 0-1 with a bunch of land. We would need to draw incredibly well. Though, if we go down, our opponent is going down to 5 as well. So yes, we will join him again. This is, oh man, this is pretty much the best. This is the best 5 we could hope for. So yes, we'll go with this. Our opponent looks to be the Boros drafter, so that's interesting. No, it's another Gruul deck. Okay, that's very interesting. Probably quite good for us. Well, he got the money card. Mugging. Yep, that's fine. We'll play this instead. We'll keep putting out threats, you can keep removing them. Eventually we'll get one to stick, and then we'll start beating you down. Like that. Oh, and we drew Stolen Identity, which is going to go so very well with our Balustrade Spy. We can now play Balustrade Spy and see what we're up against. Three colours. Sunhymn Guildmage, Madcap Skills. So maybe we don't have to be scared of the Boros deck if all of its fun toys have been parcelled out into these 3 colour decks. It could be that just by virtue of staying 2 colours we've actually produced quite a strong deck in a field of 2 colour decks. Here I'm certainly happy playing Hands of Binding on that. Though, am I really that interested in that? I don't really want to open myself up to removal, and he can't swing in yet. If he's got another land, he can swing in for 6 rather than 4. Maybe I do, because then I'm trading 4 for 4 as opposed to... yeah, let's do that. We do wish to use the Cipher. We'll Cipher onto the Armoured Transport. No, onto the Balustrade Spy because it has a removal. If he's playing Gruul, he's playing big creatures. I don't want to go all in on the Balustrade Spy, but we kind of have to in this scenario. So now, if we get another land, we're very, very happy. If not, then we're still quite happy. Our opponent is really struggling here. So we'll swing in again. I can't tell how much of this is... hello, what's this? Arrows of Justice, that's okay. That is a shame about going all in, but that was a risk we took. We may just end up producing an army of armoured transports to take the game. Our opponent is really struggling on land right now, which suits us down to the ground. Especially if he taps out here, I'd be very happy. We do need a bit more gas at this point, though we do also just want to make a land and hit Stolen Identity for a whole bunch. If this is a Croconura, I will be slightly sad. Massive raid on the evasive creature. Okay, that's fine. Yep, he gets in for 2. Well, let's make some armoured transports, shall we? Let's get some card advantage going. This is terrible. I'm not going to deny that this is very, very bad, but hopefully it will get there. Cast a copy of this. So now I've got 3 armoured transports to his 1 Scarred Guildmage. He's still waiting for land, and it doesn't look like he's actually receiving land. He would be slamming it down. Okay, there we go. So he does have a 4-drop. Let's see what that is. It's another mugging. Oh my. It's oozing the value now. And now we're bricking, unfortunately. Eventually, though, I can see him having to block, because these armoured transports will kill him. It seems very odd to be attacking with 2 armoured transport tokens, but I'm certainly not going to complain. So ideally we want a draw spell to stop us. Not a draw spell. We want to be able to just draw some more gas, and land is not gas, unfortunately. We will attack in. We'll continue attacking him. We're still getting him for 2. We've got him dead in 3 turns. But a counterspell would be ideal. We're currently taking 1, 2, 5 is. Well, he can't swing in with that, unless he wants to leave land up to animate. And that's risky because I could have removal for his Scarred Guildmage. So the onus is on him. He certainly doesn't want to swing in with everything unless he has a follow-up creature, but I feel that whatever creature he would play would be far worse than the Zertar Swine currently is. There's a Spire Tracer. Not too concerned about that. He will chump with it, I'm sure. No, he wants to stop the bleeding altogether, that's fine. Well, we're still drawing land, and we may as well swing in, though he will just animate a land, I imagine, and block with that. And that's entirely on him. If he wants to do that, that's fine. So we're taking 1, 2, 6, 11, 12. We're going to 2. Potentially we are dead. There's not a lot we could have done about that. He's not animating the land, so yes, he's still on the defensive for the most part, which is good. But we're still drawing land. At this point we have to stop attacking, just because he could Alpha Strike and cause problems for us. Because he has lethal on board if he chooses to swing with his land, which may force us to deal with it. I'm not entirely sure what we can draw here to push through those last 4 points of damage, and it's a real shame that we just started hitting all of our land right now. I guess going all in on the Balustrade Spy ended up not being ideal. Okay, our opponent is going to his attacks. He's not going for the win by the looks of things, so yes, he's holding back. Which is very, very good for us. Which means we have 1 more draw step to hit something that isn't a land. That's very awkward though. This could cause problems. How big is that guy? He's only a 2-2, which is a shame. Opponent has a lot of mugging and things, so this is unfortunately just a bear. Certainly could have done with that Psychic Strike at some point along the way, instead of just drawing infinite land, but that's fine, it happens. At some point he should reach a board state where he can't really lose, and we still have a lot of ways of losing. We still have Cloudfin Raptors to draw into, Basilicus Screechers. This was poor for both of us. We both mulled quite significantly. I can't remember what my opening 7 was. Oh, it was the 3 blue no action hand, wasn't it? Couldn't really have kept that, even on the draw. I think that it was correct to mulligan that, and then of course the 5 land Cloudfin Raptor just wasn't going to do anything. We were lucky for our opponent to mulligan as well, because we probably would have lost far quicker if this weren't the case. Opponent is again going to his attack step. I wonder if here he figures he can swing in with everything. I'm not entirely sure. He'll probably just swing in with the Spire Tracer. Oh, hello. We actually have an attack. Could have us dead to a Blood Rush. I'm not entirely sure what we're drawing into, but I will block for the sake of not just dying to a Blood Rush creature. It would be very bold of him to Blood Rush, I think. But he could. I guess he wants to save his creature, and now he's sort of all in on it. Martial Glory, that's fine. So opponent is definitely Naya things. Death's Approach is not, unfortunately, what we're after. Our opponent does not have enough creatures in the graveyard to make this work. At this point I'm happy conceding, though I will make him go the distance, because he may not see it. I could have killed Spire Tracer, but at that point I'm just dead to an Alpha Strike. I'm dead to an Alpha Strike here as well, but it's whether my opponent sees it. It'll be very interesting, and I don't think I should be scooping before time. Dying to damage is just the same as scooping. There's no point in not prolonging it. And we've been allowed an additional draw step. On this occasion I will not do anything with that. I can't see why he wouldn't have attacked with everything. I guess he's fearing Ether Eyes, though we are just dead. We are legitimately screwed. We really need to draw into another spell to stop ourselves from just keeling over. Assault Griffin, that's fine. We get to see more of his deck. We get to see how much of his deck is white and how deep in 3 colours he is. For the most part, we've not seen that until this point. I didn't know how heavy he was splashing white, because I'd only seen the Sunhome Guildmage and the Martial Glory. In fact, he's got these as well. Makes his deck somewhat inconsistent and somewhat slow, so I'd favour going for a more aggressive strategy. It seemed to work in the last game, certainly. Guardian of the Gate, this is really going to be a problem, and we need a contingency plan for dealing with that. I guess Hands of Binding is really our only option. Okay, he's got us, that's fine. So, we need to be somewhat aggressive. And we need to punish his greedy hands. Anything that can establish a board presence means that Spell Rupture is excellent, and he is tapping out quite a lot for quite a few things. Totally Lost is very good on his land, and Dimir Charm is fantastic against him. I think bringing in Spell Rupture and taking out Mortar Strider is probably correct. Clinging an enemy certainly isn't doing anything against him. Though if we want to go aggressive, I think we want to play Shadow Alley Denizen to get in more damage. Becomes tapped. No, this is fine. We'll just bring in the Spell Rupture instead of the Mortar Strider and go from there. So game 2. We would like to play first, and this is a fantastic hand. This has so much going for it. There is no reason to mulligan this. We can hope that our opponent doesn't keep. We can hope that their deck is... Nope, that's fine. Okay. It was a keeper. So, we will pass a turn here. Ooh, opponent has a 1-drop. Okay, that's really good for us. A bit awkward drawing the Cloudfin Raptor though now, but I will run out the Basilicus creature first. He could have a Guild Mage, I suppose. Okay, he just has a mugging, that's fine. Here, however, I will run out the Cloudfin Raptor and then evolve it next turn. I was hoping to be able to block, but of course he could have had a red creature, so that may not have been wise. He's got Boros Kieran here, he's going to swing in for 1 again. We can deal with that when it comes to it. That's a real shame that we're drawing all of our removal that needs to sort of... This is fine though. We're establishing a board presence in a far more timely manner than he is. All we need to do is trade off with one of his creatures, and then Death's Approach is active for all of his small things. White of Precinct 6 gets bigger. We've got Dimir Charm as well to sort out other things. He's just attacking with that, that's fine, we can take 2. It's not a problem. Okay, so we could play Armour Transport and make this a 2-3, which is an excellent blocker for all of his things. He's currently taking us down 2 at a time. Yeah, I think we will beat him down a little bit, because he's now struggling on mana and he's just using the Boros Kieran to get in. So we will swing him with these. No, we'll leave Basilicus creature back. It is stopping his Foundry Street Denizen from swinging in, and we are quite happy to trade with that at some point. After the next activation, I will be Dimir Charming. There's Guardian of the Gateless, that's fine. Stops our attacks, but that's not really a concern. We can play the slow game as much as he can. This would get +1/+1, which would make it 4/2, which is a bit of a shame. Though we can Dimir Charm... No, we don't want to do that. We want to Dimir Charm his Boros Kieran when he uses Martial Glory or something like that on it. If he activates Boros Kieran, that's exactly what he has in this situation. Pit fight. Well, that's a real shame. We can't counter it. That is a great shame. That's going to cause us huge problems. Okay, he's activating. I may just kill the Boros key rune here. Oh, he's attacking with that. Okay. I think that's a mistake, because I will happily block. And we will kill this as well. And extort. I don't really understand that attack. He's thrown away a creature which would have prevented me from doing anything for the rest of the game had I not dealt with it on my own. Whereas here, he now has a creature in his graveyard, which activates Death's Approach, at least for that creature. White Precinct 6 becomes a 2, and I think I will cast Death's Approach and make it a 3. Though maybe not. Perhaps I just slam white as a 2 here. Okay, we'll make it as a 2, and we'll leave it up, because we might see something else we want to Death's Approach. Like that Assault Griffin, for instance. Yeah, we will start beating down here. Armor Transport is very good in this situation. It causes chump blocks very, very quickly. We'll take 3 here. It makes our white is now a 3/3, and this is just superb. We will happily bounce his permanent, stop him from having a blocker, and force him to discard. I suspect he has a lot of green cards, and most likely he will be playing dumping one of those in the bin now. Yeah, of course. His deck is very, very greedy, which is to our advantage. Ours is far more consistent. We can now just Death's Approach whatever he plays, and that will be game. Yeah, okay. So game 3, that seemed to work out very well. I'm happy with the way that went. He has a lot of removal, and Dimir Charm is going to be excellent against his sorcery speed removal, as is the Spell Rupture, so I'm happy to keep this as it is. And this is a very fine opening hand. It's a shame we don't have the blue for the Cloudflame Rapture, but we could draw into it. Our opponent is keeping his hand as well. I always feel like he should be on the draw most of the time, just because his deck is so deep in 3 colours. It's very odd for him not to be that. We could just get colour screwed here and that would be the end of that, but let's see how this goes. Well, we're drawing land at least, that's certainly a positive. I fully expect this to get mugged, but we need to establish a board presence. Okay, he's got all his colours this time, and he's got ramp. So we will get in for 1. I'm not really in favour of playing White Precinct 6 as a 1/1. I do want to get my blue and then Cloudflame Raptor and white in the same turn. Yeah, he's got his Zertoir Swine on turn 4. That's very, very strong. Well, we have a Balustrade Spy to follow up. Mugging Sumhole, Gilbage and Mountain, okay. We really do need to hit our blue very, very quickly now, because we are in a race and we are losing this race very quickly. We can at least run out White Precinct 6 as a chump blocker, and we do have enough air pressure to establish a win. So all is not lost just yet. Another land off the top would produce a Shadow Slice, though I think we're probably due for a spell at this point. I'm not entirely sure what spell would be good for us. He's taking 2 off his stomping ground. What does he have at 6? I guess a Ruination one. Okay, Scarred Guildmage. And a 4? I'm guessing this is an Assault Griffin. Oh, he had that. Okay. Well, that's very, very good. Yeah, I'm not sure how we deal with that exactly. We can stop it. If we play this, this is currently a 2-2. This would become massive. Absolutely huge, and we have to chump it. Our only way out of this is to draw 2 lands in 2 turns, which isn't ideal. I think for now I'm going to have to hold back and cast this with an Extort trigger, which I'm loath to do. This hasn't really worked out for us. Being stuck with just one colour is a real problem. So this may be curtains for us, but we can hope that we pull something out from somewhere. A single blue gives us Totally Lost, which resets his Rubble Pelt Raiders once, and then Din Rover Horror would mean we'd reset it again, which gets us somewhat back in the game. But we are playing for the blue here, and even if we do that, we're not exactly favourites to win this. He's presumably animating a land here. Yes. So he's getting in for 9, 10, 15 if he just attacks with those 3. Attacking with 15 for 3 creatures, that's very, very good. So we're currently taking 15 and going to 1. That seems very, very, very scary. I'm not entirely sure how we block here. Putting one of his creatures into the bin means that we can chump this next turn and we can stop this from activating, but he still has Boros Keyrune. I think that's the correct play, but that's all we can do, and we are 2-for-1ing ourselves. And still going to 6 as well. Looks like he has a Blood Rush to save his guy, or to kill us, potentially. Oh, it's Martial Glory, of course it is. So we go down to 3. Yeah. This is very, very bad. We draw the island. I think it's too late to save us, though. He will animate a land, animate... 1, 2, 3, animate the land, so he can't do that and activate Boros Keyrune. But we are still taking lethal. We haven't been able to dump another creature into his bin. However, we will extort a couple of things. Let's see if we can stay alive one more turn. reduce the damage that this can do, even though that's not so relevant. We do just need to get the extort trigger in though. This means we can chump his land and his rubble pelt raiders, though we may still be dead just from the fact that we don't have enough creatures. If he alpha strikes, we are dead, very simply, which I'm sure he'll realise, and he will get him with all of the team. His mistake is if he just animates the land and just swings in with Zertar Swine, Rubble Pelt Raiders and the land, because then we could just chump those two. We still need to draw land off the top for Dinrova Horror, but that would stabilise us a little bit. Okay, he's activating Key Rune instead. I'm not entirely sure that was wise. Okay, that will definitely do it. Yes, we will concede at that point. Shame. We thought our deck was certainly good, but unfortunately our opponent was able to get enough consistency in his third draw to see us home to a second round defeat. If we'd had Island earlier, I think we would have been in a much better position. We would have had Cloudfin Rapture out, and it would have evolved. But that is the breaks, unfortunately. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon.